Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, when did those lines appear? Would you believe me if I said a $5 drugstore item could smooth them out without Botox or surgery? What if I told you a retired doctor discovered a technique that made one woman look 10 years younger in just 3 months? At the senior center last week, someone leaned over and whispered, "Hey, Mrs. Thompson looks different. Been to the dermatologist?" That caught me off guard. "No way," I replied. "What dermatologist? I can't afford one." But later that evening, standing in front of the mirror, I saw what she meant. The laugh lines around my mouth looked softer. My skin wasn't as dull. Something had changed, and I knew exactly what it was. For the past few weeks, I'd been applying plain old Vaseline, the kind you can buy at any corner drugstore for about $5 a jar. When I told my friend, her eyes widened in disbelief. "You're kidding? That cheap stuff? I spend over $200 a month on skincare." Sound familiar? Let's be honest, each new wrinkle can feel like a slap in the face. You buy fancy creams hoping for miracles, but mostly you just empty your wallet. And the reflection in the mirror? Still tired, still aging. But today's video could change that completely. Because what if you could get results worth $200 for the price of a cup of coffee? I'm Dr. James Carter, 87 years old, a retired surgeon with over 5 decades of experience. I've seen fads come and go, but this simple method, it works. I've recommended it to hundreds of patients. One 76-year-old woman looked an entire decade younger after just 3 months. The secret? Vaseline. But before you rush off to smear it on your face, there's a catch. It's not just about using Vaseline, it's how you use it that matters. There's a nighttime technique that makes all the difference. Skip this step, and you're only getting half the benefits. If you're tired of wasting money on overhyped creams and empty promises, you need to watch this video to the end. I'll walk you through the exact nighttime routine that makes Vaseline a true skincare powerhouse. Cosmetic companies would rather you never hear this. But I'm not backed by them. I'm backed by science and decades of results. And today, I'm sharing it exclusively with my Wisdom Well subscribers. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and stick around. What I'm about to reveal comes from 50 years of real-world medical experience. Want a quick story? 30 years ago, I was invited to a US training program sponsored by a global cosmetics company. They flew me out to consult on skin regeneration techniques. While there, I discovered, in their lab, I saw something that truly caught me off guard. "Doc, this is our new premium cream," they said proudly. "It's set to sell for $650 a jar." Naturally, I was curious. What was so revolutionary about it? Then came the twist. "Guess the main ingredient?" they asked. My eyebrows raised when I read the label, Vaseline. They called it prolatum, a fancy term for a specially refined version of good old petroleum jelly. Great at locking in moisture, they claimed. That was the moment it all clicked for me. So much of the skincare industry is just marketing in disguise. Let me tell you about one of my patients, Mrs. Betty Wilson, age 72. Every month, she was spending nearly $300 on creams and serums, hoping to fight off deepening wrinkles. But the more she applied, the drier her skin became. One day, I suggested my Vaseline method. She looked at me with doubt. "Dr. Carter, this cheap stuff, can it really work?" 3 months later, she walked into my office beaming. I was stunned. Her skin looked more radiant, plumper, with visibly reduced lines. "Doc, it's unreal," she said with a laugh. "This is the best skincare I've ever used. My grandkid even asked if I'd had something done." Now, let me break down the science for you in simple terms. The main culprit behind aging skin is moisture loss. As we grow older, our skin struggles to retain water. That dehydration leads directly to fine lines and deeper wrinkles. Here's where Vaseline comes in. It acts like a barrier, a protective shield that locks moisture in before it can escape. Picture a bowl of water. If you leave it uncovered, the water evaporates. But put a lid on it, it stays full. Vaseline is that lid for your skin. In fact, studies show Vaseline can prevent up to 98% of moisture loss overnight. That's something no expensive cream, regardless of brand, has consistently matched. It's pure function over flash, and it works. So, while you're sipping a warm cup of tea, ask yourself, how much money have you spent on skincare in the past year? And what did you really get from it? Now that you know the Vaseline secret, I encourage you to give it a try. Start tonight. Your skin and your wallet might just thank you. But I must say this clearly. Vaseline by itself is powerful, yes, but it's not the whole story. There are a few additional tips I've developed over the decades that can double, even triple its effectiveness. Take a moment to breathe and stay with me, because it gets better. Last week, a patient named Linda Harris, 76 years old and a lifelong skincare enthusiast, came to me and said, "Dr. Carter, I bought the Vaseline, but how do I actually use it right?" That's the question I've heard time and again, and I told her the same thing I'm about to share with you. On its own, Vaseline is great, but paired with a simple nighttime trick, it becomes a game changer. Over the years, I've taught patients 4 ideal ways to pair Vaseline for maximum skin benefits, and today, I want to pass them on to you. The first one, pairing a hydrating serum with Vaseline. Perhaps your grandchild gifted you a nice serum, maybe one with hyaluronic acid. Sounds familiar? Hyaluronic acid is powerful. It can hold up to 1,000 times its weight in water. But here's the catch. Without protection, all that moisture evaporates quickly. Years ago, I met Mrs. Susan Davis, 69 years old. She had a high-end serum and was disappointed it wasn't delivering results. I gave her one simple adjustment. "Apply the serum first," I said. "Wait a minute, then lightly press a rice-sized dab of Vaseline over it." Just 1 month later, she returned, visibly glowing. "Doc, it's wild," she said. "Same serum, totally different outcome." Why? Because Vaseline locked in the moisture, doubling the serum's effectiveness. This method works wonders, especially during winter or in dry, heated rooms. Now, let's talk about the second combo, retinol and Vaseline. One of my longtime patients, Mrs. Dorothy Clark, 74, came to me frustrated. Her retinol cream stung and made her skin red and flaky. It's a common issue. Retinol is known for renewing skin and boosting collagen, but it can be irritating, especially for mature skin. My recommendation? Use your retinol as usual. Wait 20 to 30 minutes, then gently apply a thin layer of Vaseline over it. Dorothy did just that, and the transformation was incredible. No more irritation, and her skin looked smoother and brighter. Quick reminder here, use retinol only at night. Sunlight can make skin more sensitive, and it reduces retinol's effect. Moving on to the third combination, brightening essence paired with Vaseline. This one is my wife's favorite. Brightening essences are great for evening out skin tone and fading age spots. After 3 consistent months, my wife's spots were noticeably lighter. The method is simple. Apply your brightening essence, wait about 5 minutes, then top it with a thin veil of Vaseline. Try it tonight with a calm, hopeful heart. You might just be amazed by your reflection in the mirror in a few months. Now, for the fourth and final combo, snail cream and Vaseline. Ever heard of snail cream? It's popular in skin renewal circles, and for good reason, but its effects tend to fade too quickly. That's what happened to an old colleague of mine, now 83 years old. When he added a thin layer of Vaseline after the snail cream, the benefits lasted longer, reducing wrinkles and improving elasticity over time. The key here is simple. Vaseline enhances the performance of good skincare ingredients by sealing them in. Think of it like a lid that traps in all the goodness. And remember, you don't need to use much. A rice grain-sized amount is more than enough for your whole face. I use these tricks every night. Choose one of these 4 pairings based on your specific skin concerns and begin tonight. With consistency, your skin and your confidence can transform over time. If you're curious to learn even more tips, don't go anywhere. I've got another story to share. This one is close to my heart. It begins 15 years ago when Mrs. Margaret Lewis, 78 years old, walked into my office. I once asked Margaret, a longtime patient of mine, "You've used top-tier creams and professional treatments, yet people still guess your age accurately. Any idea why?" She looked puzzled. Then I asked, "How do you care for your hands and neck?" She paused and replied, "I just wash them with soap." That moment was telling. Here's the truth. Most of us focus obsessively on our face, investing time and money into every serum and cream. But when it comes to the hands, neck, and other overlooked spots, we fall short. And yet, those are the very areas where aging shows first. Think about it. Hands, neck, behind the ears, elbows, and even knees. These areas have thinner skin, fewer oil glands, and they're exposed to more sun and dryness. That's a recipe for wrinkles. Take my wife, for example. She followed my advice ever since we were in our 40s. Every night, she cared not only for her face, but also her hands and neck. Now, at 83, people often mistake her for someone in her early 70s. They're shocked. But it's not magic. It's just proper care in the right places. Let me walk you through some of my most trusted anti-aging Vaseline tips, starting with the neck. One of my patients, Mrs. Emily Johnson, once confided, "Dr. Carter, no one told me my neck would wrinkle this much. I didn't know I should have cared for it when I was younger." She's not alone. The skin on our neck is delicate, thinner than the face, with fewer oil glands, and it's constantly moving as we turn, nod, and stretch. All of this leads to faster wrinkle formation. My advice to her was simple. Each night before bed, apply your usual serum or moisturizing cream to your neck. Then gently seal it with a thin layer of Vaseline. But here's a trick. Use upward strokes, not downward. A month later, Emily returned to my office absolutely beaming. Her neck wrinkles had softened and her confidence soared. Next, let's talk about hands. At her 60th wedding anniversary, 80-year-old Mrs. Nancy Brown approached me with a concerned look. "Dr. Carter," she said, "my granddaughter's wedding is next month. I'm embarrassed to be in photos because of how my hands look." I told her exactly what to do. That very night, apply a generous amount of moisturizer to your hands. Then seal it with a thin layer of Vaseline. Slip on a pair of cotton gloves and sleep with them on. Just 1 week later, she called me, overjoyed. Her hands were noticeably smoother, softer, and looked years younger. She proudly posed in every wedding photo without hiding a thing. And here's a bonus tip I shared with her, and now with you. Twice a week, treat your hands to a Vaseline hand mask. Apply a thick layer, wear gloves, and relax for 30 minutes. You'll be amazed how much more youthful and nourished your hands appear, sometimes by as much as a decade. Next, we'll look at how other areas, like elbows and knees, can benefit too. Now let's talk about 2 areas almost everyone forgets: elbows and knees. One of my longtime patients, 78-year-old Mr. George Taylor, an avid golfer, once confessed something during a checkup. "Doc, I love wearing shorts on the course, but I can't stand how rough and dark my knees look. I feel embarrassed." I nodded and told him, "George, you're not alone. Elbows and knees tend to be the most neglected areas, yet they show aging quickly because the skin there is thicker, drier, and often overlooked." So, what did I recommend? Right after his shower, while the skin was still slightly damp, I told him to apply a generous layer of Vaseline, and at night, he should go even thicker, letting the moisture seal in while he slept. Weeks later, George came back smiling and said, My knees are so soft now. I'm no longer shy about wearing shorts. Let's move to another overlooked area, behind the ears and the earlobes. My own daughter once commented, "Dad, saggy ears can age people." She was absolutely right. While we focus so much on our cheeks and forehead, we often forget that the earlobes droop and wrinkle, subtly aging the entire face. The fix is easy. When applying your skincare routine, don't stop at your face. Dab a bit of cream or serum on your ears and earlobes too. Then, at night, add just a hint of Vaseline to lock in elasticity and hydration. Patients have told me they noticed firmer, more youthful-looking skin in just a few weeks. Next comes an area that many women mention, the lips and mouth. My patient, 80-year-old Mrs. Helen Davis, once said, "Dr. Carter, the lines around my mouth are what bother me most. They're so deep, even when I'm not smiling." That's no surprise. The lips and the area around the mouth move constantly, talking, eating, smiling, thousands of tiny movements every day. This naturally leads to deeper expression lines. I gave Helen a simple suggestion. Each night, apply a generous amount of Vaseline directly on the lips and around the mouth. Let it sit and absorb as you sleep. Just a month later, she came back, beaming. "I smile now, and the lines aren't as deep," she said. The results spoke for themselves. And finally, let's talk about the most expressive part of the face, the eyes. My wife often says, "Honey, age shows in the eyes before anywhere else." And she's absolutely right. Fine lines, crow's feet, and sagging lids can quickly add years. Here's the trick I've taught her for decades. After applying eye cream, gently dab a paper-thin layer of Vaseline over it. Just a whisper. Too much can lead to puffiness. But when used correctly, it helps seal in moisture and keeps the delicate eye skin looking smooth and firm. Her eyes remain bright, youthful, and full of life. What ties all of this together? One word: consistency. One of my patients, 78-year-old Mrs. Patricia Adams, once admitted, "Dr. Carter, I didn't notice much at first, but after 3 months, it's night and day." For her, using Vaseline became a habit, and that habit changed everything. Still not convinced? Try a simple test. For the next month, apply Vaseline every night to just one of your hands. At the end of the month, compare the two. You'll be amazed at the difference. But there's one important thing you must know before you start. Without the right precautions. Before we move on, let's talk about something crucial. Precautions. Because if you skip this part, you might end up doing more harm than good, especially if your skin is oily or prone to breakouts. I've walked you through how Vaseline can help your face, neck, hands, elbows, and more. But without the right approach, especially for certain skin types, results can backfire. One question I hear a lot is, "Dr. Carter, I have oily skin. Can I still use Vaseline?" It came up just the other week with one of my longtime patients, 76-year-old Mrs. Ruth King. She sat across from me, concerned, and I gently reminded her, "Ruth, your skin type doesn't disappear just because you're aging. Oily skin stays oily, and that matters when choosing treatments." Now, let me tell you from personal experience. I've had oily skin my whole life, and even at 87, my forehead and nose still shine by noon. So I speak from both clinical knowledge and first-hand experience when I say this. Vaseline is a fantastic barrier, but it's not for everyone, or for every part of the face. If your skin leans oily, don't go overboard. My patient, 71-year-old Mr. Frank Harris, once slathered Vaseline all over his face thinking more was better. Unfortunately, his acne worsened, especially across his forehead and chin. I advised him to stop applying Vaseline to the entire face. "Frank," I said, "just skip the T-zone, your forehead, nose, and chin. Instead, dab a tiny amount on the drier areas like the cheeks or under your eyes." He followed that advice, and within 2 weeks, his skin calmed down noticeably. Let me give you another example. Mrs. Diane Walker, 71, was battling persistent jawline acne. One evening, hoping for softer skin, she applied Vaseline directly on the breakout spots. The result? Her acne flared up even more. I explained gently, "Diane, acne starts when pores get clogged. Vaseline, though healing, can trap oil and bacteria in those spots. Use it only around, not on, the acne-prone areas." Once she made that adjustment, her skin balanced out, and the breakouts became far less frequent. Even my granddaughter, who's in her 20s and has struggled with acne, uses Vaseline very cautiously. She applies it only at night, avoids breakout zones entirely, and always washes her face thoroughly in the morning. It's a habit that's helped ease her dryness without aggravating her skin. And there's one special trick I've used for decades for patients with both dryness and acne: a Vaseline and tea tree oil blend. Take my patient, 70-year-old Mrs. Barbara Young, who came in feeling frustrated by the combination of flaking skin and breakouts. I recommended she mix 1 or 2 drops of tea tree oil with a tiny rice grain-sized bit of Vaseline. Why? Tea tree oil has natural antibacterial properties. It fights the bacteria that cause acne, while Vaseline helps seal in moisture and calm irritation. Tea tree oil brings the power. It calms acne, while Vaseline seals in the moisture. Together, they helped Barbara finally regain control over her skin. For years, she had struggled to balance dryness and breakouts. This simple blend did what expensive creams couldn't. Now, let's move to the 4th tip: ointments and Vaseline. One of my colleagues, a fellow physician, had long dealt with dermatitis. His skin was reactive and dry, flaring up without warning. I gave him a suggestion I'd shared with many patients. Apply your regular ointment first, then add a very thin layer of Vaseline to lock it in. He was astonished. "Dr. Carter," he said, "I've used this ointment for years, but with Vaseline it works like a new formula." It wasn't the medicine that changed. It was the delivery. Vaseline made it last longer, penetrate better, and protect the skin barrier. 5th, and just as important, allergy-prone individuals. Always perform a patch test before applying Vaseline or any product to your face. I remember 83-year-old Mrs. Shirley Moore, who came to me with redness after using Vaseline she saw recommended online. I asked her, "Did you patch test first?" She hadn't, so I walked her through it. Dab a small amount on the inner arm or just behind the ear, then wait 24 hours. If there's no redness, swelling, or itchiness, it's usually safe to proceed. It's such a simple step, yet it prevents the surprise of waking up with irritated skin. Now here's a lesson I learned the hard way. Don't overdo it. Too much Vaseline can feel heavy, sticky, and uncomfortable, especially for facial use. A tiny rice grain-sized amount is enough for your entire face. Spread it thinly and evenly, and use it only at night. During the day, it attracts dust, gives a greasy sheen, and can feel unpleasant under makeup or sun exposure. Nighttime is when your skin restores itself. That's the perfect time for this remedy. If you follow these tips with care, Vaseline can truly work wonders. But ignore them, and you might end up discouraged. Trust the process, and treat your skin with the same intention you'd give your health. Next, I'll share the routine that has made the biggest difference over the years, my ultimate nighttime Vaseline method. This is what I recommend when someone asks, "Dr. Carter, how do I make my skin look 10 years younger?" I remember Mrs. Evelyn Turner, who told me, "Dr. Carter, I'm 78. Why bother now? Isn't it too late for skincare?" I smiled gently and shared something my mentor once told me. Giving up is what ages us. If you start today, tomorrow will already be better. That mentor, by the way, remained vibrant and active at 92. He exercised, took care of his health, and never skipped his skincare. His commitment inspired me, and eventually, Evelyn too. Though skeptical at first, she gave the Vaseline routine a fair shot. 6 months later, her hands and neck, areas she once thought were too far gone, looked noticeably better. Her skin was smooth, hydrated, and full of life. "Doctor," she said with a grin, "my grandkid held my hand and said it felt soft as a pillow. I'm so glad I started." Friends, it's never too late. Begin today, and tomorrow you'll already see a shift. Stick with it, and in a year, you won't believe the transformation staring back at you in the mirror. Let me know when you'd like me to continue with the next part. I'm ready. My wife often reminds me, at our age, it's not about beauty anymore. It's about healthy aging. And she's absolutely right. Skincare isn't about chasing youth or vanity. It's about protecting the very barrier that shields you from the world. Your skin is your body's first line of defense, and it deserves care. Now let me walk you through the Vaseline nighttime routine. This step is more important than you might think. In fact, without it, everything I've shared so far will only work at half its true potential. The beauty of this method is in its simplicity, but timing and order matter. Begin by gently washing your face with lukewarm water. Avoid hot water. It strips the skin of natural oils and causes dryness. Next, softly pat your face with a towel, but don't dry it completely. Leaving a slight dampness allows products to absorb more effectively. Then apply your regular essence or serum if you use one. But don't worry, if you don't have a serum, Vaseline alone can still do wonders. Give your skin a moment to absorb the essence, just 1 or 2 minutes. In the meantime, take slow, deep breaths. Let your mind relax and allow this process to be your moment of calm. Now take a rice-sized amount of Vaseline. Warm it between your fingertips, then gently smooth it over your face. Focus especially on areas where wrinkles tend to deepen, around the eyes, the mouth, the forehead. But don't stop at the face. Extend this gentle ritual to the neck, hands, elbows, ears, lips, and the delicate skin around the eyes. These areas are often neglected, yet they age just as quickly, sometimes even faster. This simple, mindful ritual, done every night, holds the secret to long-lasting, healthy aging. I've spent over 50 years studying and sharing the power of Vaseline, and now it's your turn to put it into action. Tonight, start small. Even if you feel overwhelmed, just begin with one area, perhaps your hands. That single act can begin to restore your confidence, improve your skin's condition, and even elevate your daily quality of life. I'm Dr. James Carter, and I truly hope that your skin, your health, and your life continue to shine brighter with every passing day. Wishing you strength, peace, and radiant well-being. If this video brought you value, please don't forget to subscribe and like. And as always, have a warm, restful evening. And don't skip your Vaseline routine tonight. Wishing you great health, happiness, and peace. And remember to subscribe to my channel, Healthy Aging Blueprint.